I'm Kim, and the Screencast website that I was assigned was called BookTrack, and it's really cool. It is a website that lets you add a soundtrack to books that are in the public domain, and the soundtrack doesn't have to be a it doesn't have to be a song. It can be, but it can also be sound effects and ambient noise. So if you're at the beach, you can have waves crashing, or say it's raining in a scene in the book, you can have like rain coming down and bird noises in the jungle. So that's really cool. And you can either read the books with the soundtrack that are already made and published, or you and your students can make your own. And it's really fascinating because you can apply it to your own stories that you write personally. So we'll get started, and the Teacher First website suggests that you view this website using Google Chrome. So we're in Google Chrome right now, and we'll type in Book Track Classroom. Let's spell it correctly. BookTrackClassroom.com. And this is just a little advertisement for the website itself. Sort of gives you a little tutorial, but we'll hide that to get right to the meat of the website. And here's how they have the front page laid out with different categories, different genres. But I think it's a little better if you just go to Bookshelf. It has all the stories laid out, and you can go to genres and it'll organize them just like that for you. So um, another thing is that you can see that I'm logged in here, but you don't have to create an account. You can read any story that you want for free, and they're all available to you if you have an account or if you don't, and you don't have to pay for anything. Um, I would suggest making an account, especially if you were a teacher with your own classroom, because then you can have your own creations. Here are my projects that I have been working on, that I have practiced doing for um, this project. But if you make an account, then you can have your students can add their own stories, and you can have like a class bookshelf. But I'll go to Bookshelf and I'll open this. I read a couple of these, and Mask of the Red Death by Edgar Allan Poe has some really cool ambient sound effects, like right from the beginning. So I'd like to start with that one so you can just see how it works. Um, and then it has a little description about what it's about, the plague, and um, so what you can do is click read and it'll start right away. So that's a little tricky. You might want to pause it until you can get your bearings. And one of the most stressful things about this website, like the one complaint that I have, is that it's really difficult to get the reading speed to match up with your reading speed. So it starts you off at 300 words per minute, which is really fast for me. So I slowed it down, and it was like really difficult for me to find a reading speed that worked with my reading speed so that I wasn't either way far ahead of the music or really behind the music. That's something that takes a lot of practice, because it's hard to read a book and concentrate on where the little arrow is showing you where the music is playing, and gain the information of the book while trying to focus on your timing. But once you practice it and once you get your timing right, it's not a problem at all, and it's like a really cool experience, a really awesome way to make reading a multimedia experience. So we'll click read, and I'll pause it. This is where I had left off. So rewind it to the beginning, pause. This right here is where you toggle your reading speed. So right now I have it set to 160 words per minute, which seems to be good for me. Um, so I'll leave it at this, and I'll play it so that you can listen to the words. I did have it so that I was reading the story to you, but I felt like that took away from you being able to hear the actual audio, because the way that it works with my laptop, when I was reading it, it was hard to, in the playback, hear the audio of the soundtrack over my voice. So I'll sort of let you read it to yourself, but there's a couple sound effects that I think are really good with this example of this story. Um, and it goes on to the second page. So I'll just play it for about a minute, and then we will we'll go to make our own. But so let's just listen to this and see how the soundtrack works with the words and how they sort of match up, and it makes it a more interesting reading experience. Okay, so in the beginning you heard the people screaming and dying and coughing, and I thought it was really cool when they had the iron gate closing and you could hear the metal clanking, and I thought that was really cool, bringing the story to life. So you can read through the whole book that way, and then you can also create your own. And this is one that I was working in, but we'll start a new one. And you can either create one with your own story or one from that they have from their own library. So just to show you how to do your own story, because I think that's good for the students if they're doing like a creative writing class. And an example that I was thinking was, say you're asking what they did this summer, and they can say, this is my trip to the beach. And the chapter name can be driving to the beach. And then we So this is just a really simple example just so that we can throw it together and I can show you how to do it. And then you'll go here and add sound. So you highlight the text that you want to have sound. And you have all of these to choose from. But we'll go to ambience. And so here's just a couple, a terminal crowd or ocean waves and thunder. But we'll drop it down and we'll go to, let's see what they have, streets. Because we're driving on the street. So let's see what that gets us. So you click search, and day, street, light, activity. So let's try this one and see if this sounds like what we want. So this is sort of like outside street, like walking sounds. Not exactly what we're looking for, but let's just try to find one more. Transport. That would probably be better for what we're looking for. Okay, so the internal driving of a car. Okay, so I like this one. I think that this works. It's just sort of the hum of the engine over the road. So we'll select that, and then we will view it in the reader. And then it's a really short sentence, but you can hear the car just starting to roll. And then you would go to publish, fill out these fields, and you need a you need to have a teacher classroom bookshelf in order for you to be able to publish it. And then that's something that you should really create because your students can add to it and you can read each other's stories. But we'll go to a new book track and choose one from the library. And let's just pick the first one and select a chapter. So we'll do chapter 1. And then here you go. Starts with this little poem, so you can go to where you add sound, highlight the poem, and add, so let's say we want to add music, but we want to add maybe, we'll go to style. Let's say we want to add easy listening, and we'll search. Oh, like dang. Let's check this one. Okay, so then we'll select that, and then I'll just take you here, and we'll add just any sound to this one. And so let's start up here and do view in the reader. And there it's playing the one that we just made, going through, and let's speed it up. And music changes to, okay, there's the next one that we put in. So that's how the website works, and you can publish that one. It'll take you to the same page where it says that you need a classroom bookshelf. But it's a really cool website. It's a great multimedia source for reading, and I think it really brings the books to life. And I think students would really get a kick out of it, especially if they can animate and add um, music to their own stories. I feel like they would really